Free Skaro!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 834. I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
Another jam-packed show today. Remembrance of the Daleks commentary part 2. A interview with a couple folks from EVE Online about the Doctor Who crossover event that's happening until February 1st. So that's all happening on this show before we even get to it. But because all that's been pre-recorded and stuff, the reason these episodes run long is because they're going, hey, it's 1 minute into our recording, so how long of an episode can this possibly be? So this is why this part of the episode will probably be about an hour long, probably, because we probably have stuff to talk about. Yeah. Even though we've covered most of it during our pre-recording stuff, which we don't usually talk about Doctor Who, but we complain about literally everything else and get it out of our system.
Absolutely everything and anything.
Yeah, man. Imagine if we live streamed our pre-recorded conversations.
We would be arrested. No, thank you.
Complaining about various science.
In the words of Eminem, the FCC won't let me be.
Yeah, we're not that controversial. We're just dump it on.
We're just cranky old men, is what it is. Basically.
Yeah, dump it on Star Trek. Although I will say this about Star Trek, about some of us are kind of like, especially in the Picard trailer, which I haven't seen, but I won't go into that. But what I am kind of envious of is that, and this is, what you can do when you being Paramount Plus own your properties and can do this. You can go, okay, here's what's happening for the next few months. Here's when Picard's coming. Here's the next bit of Discovery's coming. Oh, by the way, Discovery's renewed for another year. Here's when the next of this, they basically laid out the next 6 months of what to expect for Star. And then here we are going, so when's the next episode of Doctor Who airing? April.
Whatever
maybe.
It wants, damn it.
And they also have renewed, was it called Strange New Worlds?
Have they really? Oh, wow. They haven't even aired it yet.
For a second season hasn't even aired yet.
What if it's
terrible? I don't think we've got it. Have we got a trailer?
No.
Actually, that's the one I'm looking forward to because it's episodic and not arcish.
So they say. Yeah. Anyway, I'm just beating the drum more about Doctor Who not being beholden to, Country File, which is what
to Alex Kurtzman.
Yeah.
I was skimming through Doctor Who related Google alerts this morning,
as we are wont to do,
and I came across one from I forget what site, some newspaper in Britain, about Jeremy Clarkson railing against Doctor Who and its poor ratings. I'm like,
who cares what Jeremy Clarkson thinks?
Jeremy
generally.
Clarkson's on this train, then damn.
Right.
It just doesn't seem
has
right.
Alan Sugar weighed in yet? What about Piers Morgan? I really want to hear from these other titans of thought.
And as we've been saying in the stats section, like the overall position of Doctor Who has actually improved since the Peter Capaldi era and the Jodie Whittaker era, just so you know. Even if the numbers themselves, the treasured overnight viewing figures are low, because it's low for everyone on broadcast television right now.
And I've enjoyed lots of what Jeremy Clarkson has done over the years on Top Gear and related shows, and even British panel shows and whatever. He can be a funny person. He can also be a very not nice person.
How do we put this? Yeah,
anyway,
unctuous person. How about
that? A person in their 60s seems to me to be less likely to be receptive to changes like viewing figures.
Actually, could I rephrase that? A white British man in his 60s, or indeed his 80s, as John Cleese has proven over the last decade.
And I don't know for sure, but I'll bet you he voted leave.
I'm pretty sure you're right. Anyway, we're walking into waters we have no business being in, being stupid Canadians. But anyway.
That's true. That's true. What else? Oh, we also have like DVD news and stuff, and the time lash and all that stuff. All the stuff that usually happens here. But first, a Gallifrey 1 update and some Radio Free Skaro news. Oh, you have some more banter?
I take it back. Jeremy Clarkson calls Brexit voters idiots.
There you go.
And said he was going to vote Remain. Okay, I take that back, Jeremy Clarkson.
perhaps it's time to have a new approach to Jeremy Clarkson.
Probably not.
No. Gallifrey 1 is happening next month, February 18th to 20th. There was a galley update on the 19th about tickets being on sale until February 5th or 6th. A couple of guests have canceled. Here's the deal, though. Radio Free Skaro will be there in the form of me and me alone. Warren and Chris, neither of you are feeling comfortable enough to attend.
Neither of us are happy about it either. It's just not. It is with great reluctance that we don't go. But it's just. I can only speak for me personally. The COVID anxiety. You can show me all the numbers you want, and I will believe them. But I will also still be scared out of my bleep to go. I haven't gone on a plane for 2 years. I didn't see my parents at Christmas. I'm not there mentally, and that's all me.
This is not the time.
I look very much forward to hopefully this stupid, asinine, boring plague being done in a year's time, and I go down there very happily. But this time I just can't. My brain won't let me do it. Basically,
I know.
I'm not. I'm not overly keen on considering going from Alberta, whose population is half of what LA alone is, to LA.
Also, I've dodged this vile beast of a thing for the last 2 years. I'm like, oh, God.
No, the prospect of airports and crowds and flights and I'm just not there. So,
well, that and just the testing aspect is the worst part of it because with Canadians, you have to test to go, test to come back. If I get positive there, I can't fly back home. I got to stay in LA for a week, which cost me probably about $1,000, if not more, to get an Airbnb and isolate in it. Yeah. So it's just the logistics of it are. And that's got nothing to do with Galley. That's just all to do with this dumb epidemic.
No, and not to mention what happens if we're all fully vaxxed and boosted and all that kind of stuff, but there still exists a possibility of hospital stuff. And
what if? Exactly. For a Canadian, that's terrifying.
I don't care how good my travel insurance might be. I would still worry about getting a massive bill or some such. So.
Yes, I would too. And also, and this is, again, superstition in my own brain, but every single time I've had plans, they have been destroyed by the pandemic, just completely obliterated. And I fully expect another variant to show up and just scuttle everything again. So I was just, I'm going to get ahead of you, pandemic. I'd ruin my own plans. How about that?
Understandable. I
say that, but I don't judge anybody if they want to go. I'm sure they're all going to be cautious, and it's all up to everybody's individual comfort with this insane thing we've been thrown into for the last 2 years.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will be there. There will be a Radio Free Skaro show, absolutely, because the show must go on, so to speak. So kicking off the convention, Chip, who has been our long-standing tech producer since the very first live show that we did on the side stage, on the B stage in 2012,
when they didn't even give us any AV equipment.
No, he'll be there.
Oh, wow, I'd forgotten about that.
And Chip had to cobble things together so rapidly.
He did. He'll be there, and he suggested, maybe I'll have a mic. And so he texted me this idea, and with a gif of Simpsons Ed McMahon, and I promptly responded with a pic of Jeff Peterson, the talking robot from the Craig Ferguson show. So we'll be there. The guest lineup for that yet to be announced, but it's going to be a good show. We'll kick off the convention with that as we've always done. I know I'm doing some interview panels, and I'm hoping to make the convention as normal a thing. I want to do daily podcasts on the Saturday and Sunday as well. Maybe getting 1 or 2 interviews. I even bought a portable mic stand that could just be propped up there so that people can be, distanced from me. And I will spend as much time as possible outside,
yes.
In the safe airflow of nature.
Which is LA.
Yeah.
The safer airflow of nature is probably a better way to put it.
So, the podcast will certainly still have a presence there. And I'm going to, keep busy as much as I can, because I feel like that's kind of because I know a lot of our friends aren't able to attend either this year. So I'm kind of diving into the convention just, because I miss that. I mean, as much as I miss seeing friends and everything else, I miss the buzz of a convention. I miss the pure anxiety and terror of talking to people, and the
I've got plenty of that without
sheer
going.
elation of having talked with them and having it being over. That's my, I often equate conventions to skydiving. You jump out of the plane, you better find a way to land, or things are going to go south. And so I kind of enjoy all that. So that's why I'm going.
I wish you luck and all that, because that's one of the big things keeping me away, is the fact that I would worry about much in the way of socializing, and a lot of aspects that would normally happen during Galley, like going out for a cigarette with people or going for drinks or dinner or something. I don't know if I would be comfortable with that. So
Yeah.
that would take a lot away from my Galley enjoyment.
And it's the going to and coming from that scares me more than anything else, to be honest with you. I'm sure they're going to be as safe as they possibly can be. It's just
Yeah.
It's just
but it's at the end of the day, it's not the level of safety of the people I know or the amount of trust I put in them.
No, absolutely not.
It's all the other people I don't know that could be spoiling things.
It's the entire airport of both LAX and YVR.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, the convention's doing. I mean, vaccination is mandatory, masks are mandatory. I mean, the convention itself is doing its absolute damnedest to.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. No.
To put this on.
And I'm sure being a major hotel chain, I'm sure the Marriott is doing everything they can for cleanliness and safety and all that kind of stuff as well.
And can I just say that this is the organizers, Sean in particular, this is an impossible task to pull off every year to begin with.
Yeah.
Doing it now is even more difficult. So my sympathies to them for all the extra work they got to do.
Yeah, and I'm kind of looking at it in the form of like WorldCon, how WorldCon sells what they call supporting, I think, memberships, where you don't actually get to go, but you can give them money to support them.
I'm down with that.
The money I've paid for my Galley membership. It's Sean et al. It's all yours. Please,
Yeah, totally.
Please use it in any way you see fit to keep this thing going.
Yeah, definitely. So we can all be back there. Hopefully, hopefully the Omicron's the last big variant that we have to deal with.
Don't say that. Don't jinx it, man. Because every time we say that, like that was Christmas. That was right before Christmas. Like, of course I'm going to Edmonton. This thing seems to be dying down. Hell. So yeah.
There are those who say this could be the kick that society needs, but at the end of the day, I'm not convinced of that until the whole world has an option for vaccines, and that still hasn't happened. So
no, we
need vaccines in the hands of those less rich countries.
I agree.
And 40% of America.
Well, that too.
Yeah,
but there's I'm hopeful of that one that was co-developed between like Texas and India. That name I can't think of off the Covaxin.
I hope they called it Tindia.
Covaxin or something. I can't remember the name of it. But it's like Salk did for the polio vaccine, was it? Where there's no patents. It's just like, here you go, world. Knock yourself out, literally.
Anyway, Gallifrey 1 next month. I'll be there. Kristen Warren will not. There will be a Radio Free Skaro show. There will be podcast interviews, and we'll do the best that we can, basically.
Yes, Godspeed to you, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. I will have fun on your behalf, basically.
I hope so.
Yay! I'm already feeling tense, and I'm not even going.
And I will say that a la when William Hartnell took a holiday in the 1960s, Warren and Chris's names are still in the opening and closing credits.
Which Hartnell fake are we?
I know. Well, Warren, Chris is obviously
Herndl.
You're William Herndl, and Chris is obviously Edmund Warwick, because he keeps mentioning him on the podcast.
Richard Herndl, excuse me.
Corbavax. Sorry, I just had to look that up. I was going to drive me insane.
Yeah, William Herndl was an actor in The Gunfighters.
It could be him too. Why not?
Yeah. So there, Gallifrey 1, February 18th to 20th, and I'm sure my own anxiety of traveling, of having to provide a COVID test before, and then the after is the one that I'm worried about, just because I don't know where to go. Flying back to Canada.
I looked that up before I decided not to go.
So did I. You can get them at LAX for anybody who's interested, and they're expensive as hell. So like basically the price, it'd be a little different for me because the price is lower for a plane ticket from Vancouver to LA, but the price of the tests would equal the price of my plane ticket. I'm like, what?
Oh, wow.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. kind of expensive, but I'm there. I think they have them at like Walgreens or something like that. I think there's like a 7-minute car drive from LAX Marriott. I think
I looked up like a CVS a couple miles east of the hotel that has
CVS is one I forgot about. There we go. Yeah, so I will look at all the options. I'm sure we'll probably this will be an added wrinkle to the annual Gallifrey One preview show that we do. Is that where can you get your COVID test to fly back to your? It
is the most important wrinkle, really.
Your home nation, yeah, is something we'll do. So
as much as anything, for anyone who is traveling, just make sure you know what you need for testing as well.
Yeah,
because to get into the States, they are okay with just like a lateral flow test, like a rapid test. But to come back into Canada, we need an actual PCR test.
Which stinks, given how rare PCR tests are right now. They're sort of in our home province.
They're constrained everywhere.
Yeah,
but
they're definitely constrained here.
It feels like I feel like guilty, like I'm taking this PCR test away from someone in the healthcare profession who might need it or something like that, and I'm like, hey, I'm asymptomatic, but I need it just to get back into the country.
Well, just to reassure you, most people in the healthcare profession are quitting and doing something else. So
True.
Do they need it?
Also true.
Here's a thought.
Everything is coming up roses.
Gallifrey One. I'm looking forward to California sun. I see it's like 22 degrees and sunny there today, Celsius. So it's like, I'm looking forward to that, which means it'd be nice to go outside and stuff, and there'll be things to do outside and ventilation, and hopefully they open some doors and stuff, and yeah. It'd be a good time, and good job, Gallifrey One, for going through it. And
yes, absolutely,
putting on the show and keeping it going, so that hopefully next year will be even better than it's ever been before.
And no hesitation in attending, I hope.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's talk about some other Doctor Who news. Hey, would you know that according to I love agency websites. Oh my God, they're my favorite source of news because the agency websites
and whatever,
like independent talent agency, because this is where we find out how people are writing for Doctor Who, how people are appearing in Doctor Who, how people are producing Doctor Who, and according to Vicky Dello, I don't know how to pronounce it, Dello, her independent talent website lists her as a block producer on Doctor Who for Bad Wolf / BBC One. And it says that Doctor Who is currently in production. I think it should be preparation, pre-production, sort of a development, that sort of thing. What's also a similar page on the independent talent agency website is that a new returning producer for Doctor Who, which is currently in development, is one Phil Collinson, who was producer for Doctor Who during the RTD era. Getting the band back together.
Well, see, okay, we're going to get into this later with a certain other rumor,
we will.
And I say it's just a rumor, but I have no problem with Phil Collinson coming back. If RTD comes with somebody he knows he can work well with and get this thing done, and they have a shorthand for. I mean, this is something that happens all the time with everybody. People work with the same people all the time because they know they can get this enormous, ridiculously complicated task done better.
Yeah,
that's just why that happens.
He produced It's a Sin, for instance.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Spielberg works with the same people, like many directors do, because they know, okay, this is going to get done a certain way that I want it to get done. Why wouldn't you do that?
Exactly. So, yes, it's the we're literally looking at the same 4 people who were involved in the bringing the show back in 2005. That doesn't mean that, by the way, we're also dipping back to SD and 13 episodes on a
that I'd be okay with. I'd be all right with the SD aspect.
Direct the first block.
Yeah, it's going to go great.
Bring back SD. I demand it.
Yeah, we've got this great scene where a couch burns. It's going to be so awesome. We'll just
keep an ear open for next week's news of the return of Mal Young.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure that Graham Norton clip will leak somehow, and it'll be all fine. No. So I don't know if this has all sort of been fueling the fire, but one amusing rumor. Ugh. God, I hope it's a rumor. What I loved about, I think Plymouth, some Plymouth online website. I don't know what it means.
Plymouth Herald, I believe it's
Plymouth
called.
Herald. As a kid, I called it Plymouth. After the car, not the place. Basically, so I love how it got this rumor that David Tennant is apparently being Doctor Who. Is that someone on a Facebook group mentioned that this person who previously had leaked an accurate thing says that maybe David Tennant will come back as the Doctor for 3 specials before a new doctor is actually.
That sound is my soul escaping for the millionth time.
One doesn't like this rumor at all. Yeah,
it's just okay. Can I just go out to my tirade right now?
Yes, please.
You have the floor. Yeah.
Okay, so every year this happens that somebody, because people love David Tennant, and rightly so. Like I know, Chris, is not your favorite doctor.
Nope.
A lot of people love David Tennant for various reasons that are all quite legitimate. But every year there's this whole frenzy online that David Tennant's coming back for no particular reason other than just wish casting. And this is exactly what's happening here. I guarantee there is no reason to come back to Doctor Who just to bring back an old doctor. What is the point? Like, and also it's, as far as I know, nothing besides the Plymouth Herald. And I think I saw some actor go, I talked to Katie Manning, and she said it too. I'm like, sure you did. Okay, whatever, buddy.
Well, the Katie
or
Manning
maybe
thing
you
was
just want
different.
clicks.
Yeah.
Different but related.
Okay, but anyway.
The Katie Manning thing was that RTD wants to bring back like episodes of like related characters. And that Joe Grant was going to be in the focus of these episodes.
Fine. I have nothing against that. And I don't have anything against bringing back Tennant as like in a special as just kind of like as the 10th Doctor or something. No problem. Whatever. But making him the new Doctor is just so patently ridiculous. And it just smells of internet fan nonsense to such a large degree that I'm like rolling my eyes so far back in my head that they've rolled right back to where they were in the first place. It just feels like somebody escaped from a fanfic farm and came up with this. Like, it's ridiculous. Anyway, sorry.
The notion of Tennant coming back as the 10th Doctor in a multi-Doctor 60th anniversary story,
sure,
totally believable.
No problem, and I'd like to see it.
He's been on record saying, yeah, I'm willing to come back and all that kind of stuff.
And he'd be great. Nothing against him.
Yeah, great. But Tennant, I mean, we went through this before Capaldi was announced. People saying, oh, the Doctor should regenerate from Matt Smith back into David Tennant. So we've had this for the best part of 10 years, at the very least.
I think part of it is that fans don't know what they don't actually want. And they say they want this thing, and if they actually got it, they would hate it. Because it wouldn't be the same as it used to be. and that's what they want, but they don't actually want that. They want something new. So you see this all the time. Plus, there's no way RTD comes back with all the guy who made It's a Sin and a very British Scandal and a bunch of other stuff and years, all this stuff that's different and interesting, and then just makes the same damn thing he made in the 2000s. Like, there's no way that happens. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it would be silly. Watch us get proved wrong. He
had no involvement in Very British Scandal, I think.
The
I
one
thought he made Very British Scandal.
No,
sorry, Steve.
Am I crazy? Anyway,
the one thing I hope they. I mean, honestly, speaking of like fan wish casting, like it's almost just like, well, and it's an anniversary special. Obviously, we have to have multi-doctors thing. We kind of broke that. I mean, we had Twice Upon a Time. We had a multi-doctor story in episode 6 of Flux because we had 3 different Jodie Doctors
and 2 doctors in 86 or whatever that
85,
was. 85,
yeah.
I guess.
And I always thought that, like, man, like introducing a new era with a 60th anniversary special feels weird in a way because we're expecting the tropes of your typical anniversary specials, multi-doctors gathered together to defeat a menace, which would seem a weird way to introduce a new doctor by saying, here are other previous popular doctors. Now you get to compare the new doctor directly to them.
Well, he says after Matt Smith's appearance in Deep Breath.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's why I hated Matt Smith's appearance in Deep Breath. At least when I read the script,
I didn't mind it. But,
it kind of undermined the new doctors. Yeah,
here's your brand new doctor now. Having nostalgia already.
This speaks more to fans having unbreakable rules that then get broken and then they're fine with it.
Yeah.
As opposed to like this is like well, there can only be 13, 14, however many doctors, right? And then and now there's however bazillions of doctors until there isn't. Like all this is made up, guys. It doesn't have to be the way you think it is just because everything has to be arranged on your shelf in a certain way. It's not like that. It's whatever RTD wants to do. And RTD is a talented person who is not going to do the same thing over again.
Yeah, I would love...
It just seems ridiculous.
I would love the first episode of RTD's era and indeed the 60th anniversary story to not be a multi-doctor story. That would be amazing. That would
Making
be
a Dr. Light story. I would love to see the reaction to that.
I mean, honestly, if you're looking like, if you want to celebrate the past, I mean, it's got to be Doc. It would be kind of fun, like, to have, like, multi-companion stories. Have, like, 4 or 5 or 6, like, have Amy Pond come back. Like, and thus you don't have to cram it into an era. because it could be Amy and Rory like in like, you know, they don't have to pretend like they're 22 again. They can be as old as they are. I mean, like have like it'd be kind of like a Journey's End thing, I suppose. I suppose that's already been done too. So scratch that.
It has.
Scratch that.
How about thing is,
like
RTD said
we've had like we've had like the Pandora opens Big Bang is basically like all the enemies ever. So like we've kind of done everything that we kind of expect from an anniversary
all the TARDISes
special.
ever.
All the TARDISes ever. There's the Tom Yarley Jones TARDIS, and there's the Barry Newby. You know, like all
David Banks is the Doctor.
Like, you know, I feel like we've kind of, especially Day of the Doctor. I mean, how can you top Day of the Doctor for an anniversary special and a multi-Doctor
I don't think you
thing?
can, and nor should you for the 60th. It's not the 50th. It's
exactly.
the 60th.
It's the 60th. It feels like it's bigger, but it's not really. It's the 10th anniversary of the 50th is what we're looking at here, and it's a new era.
Also, yeah. Why would you go back to the well when you're doing Doctor Who in an entirely new way? Like you're approaching it with all this extra money. You're not going to just go do the same thing you always did. He didn't do that in the first place when he rebooted Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Plus, if like he's already been on record as saying we're in production, which basically means pre-production, and he also has said we haven't cast the Doctor yet. So I mean, you can parse and Zapruder that any way you want, but come on, like, does that make any sense?
It's that's intriguing to me. The fact that they haven't cast the Doctor yet, and the fact that they have moved studios. They're in a different studio now. They've dismantled Jodie Whittaker's set. I don't know, put the set back up, but that's often not what happens.
No, I doubt it.
And so, I know that Jodie Whittaker said she shot her regeneration scene. I mean, her half of the regeneration scene. They've, for the most part, apart from the Tennant Smith switchover, I feel like they've shot other Doctors on different days. I don't think Whittaker and Capaldi were there on the same day, and certainly not Eccleston and Tennant.
You bring up the dismantling of the set. So when they shoot the second half of the regeneration. You think you're gonna like rebuild the set just for that, or maybe green screen, or maybe it's not in the TARDIS at all?
Maybe it's not in the TARDIS at all. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah,
hasn't happened
before the Watcher shows up. The Watcher's coming back, everybody.
Hasn't happened since the TV movie. When you think about it, in Logopolis in the proper show, that the Doctor has regenerated outside of the TARDIS, which would be kind of cool. Maybe Jodie Whittaker's last story will end with Jodie Whittaker regenerating in cliffhanger, a la Stolen Earth, a la the Warp Games. Who knows?
Could happen.
But Stephen, the original canon said the TARDIS helped with the regeneration process, so it has to happen in the TARDIS, right?
Yeah, that's
right.
Like
I said, there's all these rules that aren't actually rules that I'm just as guilty as everybody going, well, how are they possibly going to make a new Doctor if they only have 13 regenerations? Yeah. Well, guess what they did? Again, then they did it again.
Yeah. So honestly,
come on, people.
I know, like, I initially scoffed at it, but I also thought, like, if they went with the common tropes of a multi-Doctor story being a 60th anniversary, it would be an awkward way to introduce a new Doctor by showing that new Doctor alongside past popular Doctors. It would be an enormous amount of pressure, because if you're looking at the I really miss David Tennant. He should be Doctor Who. Why do we have to have this new person who's acting opposite David Tennant right now? It feels like it's a an awkward thing. So
and here's the thing: if anybody can actually pull that off, RTD is probably one of those people. But why put yourself through that? You don't have to. Just make it something new, for God's sakes. Like, I basically, when I heard this Tennant stuff, my first reaction was, I'm so tired. Like, I'm so tired of this. Like, this happens every year for no reason. And it's always in between Doctor Who's. Like, we've just had the New Year's special. We're waiting till Easter. So in the sort of intervening lull, people whip themselves into a frenzy over absolutely nothing, because some disreputable rag in Plymouth said something based on a Facebook group, and somehow it becomes God's own writ. It's just so exhausting.
And also the conflating of, like, the three specials. Like, we're already in the midst of three specials. New Year's, April, October for Jodie Whittaker. Like, I feel like, why would they want to just make three more specials? I feel like RTD probably wants to make a whole season of Doctor Who. I feel like the BBC and BBC Enterprises wants Russell to make us a whole full series of Doctor Who. We're not doing three more specials again. This is
what doesn't play on streaming? Three more specials.
Three more specials.
A series.
Yeah. Exactly. So I know. I feel like there's a lot of I mean, we get our Doctor Who Google alerts about 3:30 in the afternoon every day, and right now, like every single one of them is like, oh, this person could be the Doctor. Oh, it looks like this person says this. What I was amazed by, that somebody apparently asked Judi Dench, and she says, no, I'm not going to be the next Doctor. And I thought that's the first actor period I've ever seen that has actively turned down a role in public. I mean, that is, and most of these Doctor Who rumors are basically like, oh, this person says that they would like to be the new Doctor. Because of course they would. Of course they would. Like, you ask them, like, would you want to play Han Solo? Yes, that would be kind of neat. No one say,
well,
no,
and also, would I like to
that.
play him? And then they don't actually think forward about, how much work it would be. Yeah. Sure, you can on a whim say that, and then because there's no penalty to saying it.
To be fair, we are aware that there have been people who have turned down being the new Doctor. In the past.
But on a whenever someone asks, like,
the new series.
like, oh, you're promoting this movie or something, and the reporter asks, like, oh, that person from Doctor Who. You know what? You would make a good Doctor Who, and they probably say, I probably would. Oh, big news! Idris Elba just said in an interview about James Bond that he wants to be James Bond because
and that's as much the fault of click farm nonsense as it is anything else. Of just you're going to get clicks by saying this, which is what this Tennant thinks half fans' fault and half click farm fault. Yeah, but I mean, this just speaks to the absolute. And I'm as bad as anybody else. I'm not calling on anybody, but fans just have no imagination whatsoever. They don't know what they don't want till they don't want it. And then they just plead for more of the same. Like, come on, guys! Not everybody has to be Susan for God's sakes, or whatever. Like,
and Ollie Alexander has come out saying he wants to play an erotic superhero, so he's moved on from Doctor Who rumors.
Unless he's playing David Tennant as the Doctor, which is an erotic superhero.
Possibly.
I would love to see that. I'd like to see somebody playing the 10th Doctor who is David Tennant. I would love to see what the reaction would be to that.
Can this conversation...
Nothing against David Tennant.
No,
but God, fans, come on.
All
think
right.
of something new. I beg of you.
Can this conversation when David Tennant's announced as the interim Doctor in April of this year? We'll put a pin on that. Also, in the news, Doctor Who Blu-ray news, folks. Boy, we did some digging. We did some real hard proper news digging on this. No, we just emailed BBC Studios and they told us that Doctor Who: The Complete Season 6 Blu-ray was coming out in April. I literally just emailed me, hey, do you know when this is coming out? Yeah, April. Good, thanks. And sure enough, just yesterday or 2 days ago, as we record this on the Sunday here, in North America on the BBC shop, there's no date for it. There's not even a real entry for it in Amazon.ca, but there is an entry for it in American site. Season 6, Tom Baker, aka Season 17, is now the BBC shop for pre-order. April 19th, 2022. Finally, our long wait is over. We can have the Blu-ray sound.
It'll be a long wait from Galaxy 4 2 weeks earlier to that as well.
Yeah, I know. All of a sudden, it's like buses. We wait for them, and then two of them come along at once. And then, in exciting news, I'll get to the release date, and we'll talk about the actual thing first. But the next Blu-ray set that was announced is Season 22, which is Colin Baker, Season 1. And I thought, well, hell, I got some good luck with this Tom Baker news. Let's just drop him a line again. And so I dropped him a line again, expecting nothing in return. He says, yep, June. Should be June. So there we go. June. So within...
What is this magic of emailing things and asking people?
It's amazing, isn't it? And being nice to people when you ask them.
I want to buy your thing. When will you sell it to me?
Yeah. June 2022 will be in North America. At the very least, we'll see the release of the Colin Baker Season 1, a.k.a. Season 22. So I expect probably, March or April in the UK. This will probably come out.
For this, I want to pull this Band-Aid off early because I just love this so much. Yep. So on the official blurb for the Season 22 Blu-ray, it says, in conversation, not one but three insightful feature-length interviews with Colin Baker, Nicola Bryant, and a surprise guest.
Surprise.
So, as always, there's a trailer for this, which is kind of wraps up the post-Perry, Urkonis, Thoris Beta stuff.
Quite well done, too.
Kind of cool.
Pete McTighe with Leo Flanagan from Kerblam in there as well as Paris Japan, essentially.
But I like how the official line says surprise guest, and in the trailer, as we find out, because trailers love to spoil things, Michael frickin' Grade.
Michael Grade.
Feature
that is a stroke of genius, I have to say.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so looking forward to that.
That is,
by the way, here's what I'm going to do to BBC Studios. There is now a thing in Premiere where you can take audio, and then you can turn it into a transcript, and then turn it into a text file. I'm going to take what I just ranted about David Tennant without explanation, turn it into a transcript, and email that to that very BBC Studios address, and then, really sour the pot forever interacting with them again.
Don't.
This is my idea.
Don't.
I won't.
The one of three in conversation, Colin Baker, Nicola Bryant, and Michael Grade are the three ones sitting down with Matthew Sweet. Gallagher one guest, Matthew Sweet. There's a brand new documentary, including a making of the two I thought they had a making of the two Doctors, but obviously they didn't. And a nostalgic trip back for Colin Baker and Nicola Bryant to season 22's filming locations. That's awesome.
And one that surprised the crap out of everybody. A Fix with Sontarans is back. After having been on the Two Doctors DVD back in the day.
That is surprising. Because there's a certain
Explain to me and indeed the audience why this is surprising.
So, A Fix with Sontarans was a little thing. It was Colin Baker and Janet Fielding. Janet Fielding with quite long hair. And somebody called...
Okay, I've seen bits of this.
And a child called Gareth Jenkins, who later dated Teddy Russell as well. Anyway, small world. But brand manager of Doctor Who. Edward Russell. Anyway, it was all hosted by one Jimmy Savile.
Oh, that's why it's back on.
Yeah, so there's Jim'll Fix It was the show, and this is A Fix It which appeared on.
So why are they putting it back on? Do they cut around Jimmy Savile, please?
I don't know. The fact that the DVD... Because the DVD became super rare because they kind of pulled it after the U-Tree thing, and then... So the fact that it's back here was like everyone. Not only is it back, it's like boldly expresses being back, but also there's a commentary for it with Colin Baker, Janet Fielding, and Gareth Jenkins.
How do you do this? Because nobody wants to see Jimmy Savile doing anything.
He's not actively involved in the whole thing. He comes in at the very end. So there is.
I bet you they cut around that. I bet you they'll cut around it.
Do they cut around that? Yeah. So that's it is history. You can't just sort of wipe out history.
I know, but he is also a vile.
That too.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
yeah, that's intriguing. There's Behind the Sofas. There's extended episodes. Updated special effects for Time Lash.
Which look good. From what little we see in the trailer, they look
the
good.
lasers, the time lash itself. Yeah. What will they do with the Bandrels? Will they have they have to have a CG.
What are they going to do with the Morlocks?
What are they going to do? That's a good question.
Or the Borad, for that matter.
Yeah.
Actually, the Borad's makeup looks pretty good. It's just I wish he was, less immobile.
Oh, whatever. The aliens in Book of Boba Fett looked pretty similar. Which is part of its charm. Immersive 5.1 surround on 3 of the stories: Attack of the Cybermen, Vengeance on Farrell, and Revelation of the Daleks. Studio footage.
Yes, the magic words.
I'm not sure that hasn't already been released in some way, shape, or form on the DVDs. I could be. I haven't cataloged what's in there, but
it doesn't say that there's 20 some hours of it like there was for season 24.
No, season 24 was almost entirely new. The VHS material from the Colin Baker years, all that's plus content covering the promotion of the season, the controversial hiatus.
Yeah, including the Colin Baker years VHS thing. That was a bit of a happy surprise.
I know, because I lamented earlier about how I had discarded my VHSs long before I had the ability to digitize them. Thankfully, someone stepped up in the absence and provided me copies of those. Thank you, anonymous person. I know who you are. All this stuff, and of course all the stuff that's been on the DVD. Richard Bignell said that I think almost 6,000 pages worth of PDF stuff is going to be on there. Yeah.
And so you don't have to pay for it separately. Slipback is on there.
I know.
Oh yay! The only novelization I never finished.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. It does continue a tendency to put out the 70s and 80s stuff as opposed to the 1960s, which is as yet to be represented on Blu-ray. Although, obviously there's factors of restoration, of it existing, and
there's less work involved, but that's not entirely
a lot,
true.
And
still, it's kind of work involved.
And let's face it, length. 40 to 45 episodes a season for the first 6 seasons of Doctor Who will make for a lot of discs. I don't know how much you can up-res 405 line television transferred to 16 millimeter film, but and then basically made to look like it's back on videotape again. I don't know if you would put one story per disc. That's a lot of discs. It's a lot of discs on one set. So, and a lot of work.
Well, as far as 60 stuff goes, whenever they do something with Marco Polo, there's season 1 done and ready to go.
Pretty much, because they've already animated the 2 missing of Hereditary. Yeah.
So
and the Crusade only has 2 missing episodes total of that whole season. So
yeah. So I mean, there's it'll come.
It'll come. Yep. 3 and 4 are. I mean, 4 has mostly been animated. 5, amazingly, remember when like season 5 was like just the absolute pit of missing episodes, and then we got Tomb, Enemy, and Web for the most part almost entirely complete in the last like 30 years, which is astounding when you think about it. So that's
Marco Polo with an animated David Tennant as Marco Polo.
So it's important to have a white British man playing a Chinese person.
It is.
Well, Marco Polo, I guess, was Italian, so that would actually fly.
Exactly. So we'll see what I'm intrigued to see what happens when they finally do the 60s ones, and see what kind of extras will be on there. What because sadly a lot of the people who are no longer with us who were essential in the production of that. So. But that doesn't stop big releases for like classic films and stuff. They just get like proper historians to talk about it, which honestly I kind of like. I kind of like it when I like analysis more than reminiscence. I think when it comes to my Doctor Who extras, so I'd be okay with that.
Just to be completely not as sober and minded as you are, I want to see David Tennant animated doing the most outrageous Italian accent in Marco Polo. Just over the top. Hey, I'm a Marco Polo! Not even following the script. Just doing his own thing.
Right. That would be ridiculous, Warren. Stop being ridiculous.
No.
Colin Baker has one episode left, which is Twin Dilemma. And then his Blu-ray run is done. How about that? Yeah.
And I suspect it'll be a little while before we get season 21, but who knows?
I think so too. But it would seem silly to release it right after season 22. But
if I were a betting person, I'd say we're going to get a Pertwee one next, but that's based on nothing.
No,
other than there's still 3 Pertwee seasons to go.
There are. We shall see. I wonder which one of if either of these two were ones that they were sort of working on when COVID hit, and then they sort of pushed ahead with season 24 because it was kind of shorter and thus easier to work on. I wonder if this is one of those two that they did. But I know they're still they're shooting stuff. There are. I saw Chris Chapman sort of like brainstorm new documentary ideas on Twitter the other day. So they're actively in production, doing stuff for all stuff that'll eventually wind up in a whole bunch of these things. So they're working hard, and we appreciate it.
Well,
damn it.
You mentioned season 24 being shorter. Technically, it's 1 episode more than we have in season 22.
Technically, yes.
They're just half the length of the season 22 ones.
Exactly. Yep. All right. That's that. That's that. Oh God, we're like 40 minutes into this thing. We haven't even.
Of course
done
we are.
The time lash, which we'll do right now. This is our look back at Doctor Who history this week in Doctor Who history. Last week at Doctor Who history, we celebrated, we didn't mention on this show, but the birthday of Tom Baker. Turned 88 on January 20th.
Yay! All hail Tom Baker.
All hail Tom Baker, indeed. Still going strong, so... Thanks, Tom. This week, oh God, what do we want to talk? A lot of parts 4 happened this week in history, but we had the last episode of Doctor. Last week we had the last episode of Doctor Who to air before you were born, Chris. Now it's my turn. January 25th, 1975, the Ark in Space episode 1 aired, and the word of mouth from that episode catapulted Doctor Who into a ratings stratosphere that it would not see again until 2007, because the week after,
still rules.
On February 1st, actually I'm wrong, February 1st is when episode 2 aired, which finished fifth in the rating, fifth in their rankings that week, because of what happened in episode 1, which is just Doctor Who and his 2 companions wandering around a white spaceship, and a big dead bug appears at the very end. And apparently that was enough to say, this is the most amazing thing that Doctor Who has ever done.
Listen, I saw it right after I saw Robot, and I still had no idea what the hell Doctor Who was really all about. And I was like glued to it as a 12-year-old or whatever I was. Like, it's great. I kind of want to watch it now after you mentioning it.
It's amazing, isn't it? You were talking about like episode 1 proper, right? Because you were watching the episode.
Proper episode 1, exactly. Yes, I was watching exactly. It was episodes at the time on KSPS.
Yeah, such a good stuff. I know Erica doesn't like it that much, but she only watched it like a good long many years ago. Sort of like was like, So I look forward to
there's the bubble wrap, which is awesome, which is the make or break for me. Like that and the foam taking down the robot. I'm like, well, I'm on board. This is not going to stop me. Nothing stops me now.
Chris, do you have any thoughts and memories about the Ark in Space Part 1? And it's brown opening credits. There's one episode where they tinted the opening credits to be different than the others.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Probably not do that anymore.
I don't know. I don't know that I ever saw it episodically for a very long time, so it just mixes with everything else. I mean, obviously it's revered as one of the best. I remember it having the DVD being, was it the first, or at least among the first, with revamped special effects?
Oh, yeah,
I think you're right. I can't
remember if it was the very, very first, but it might have been.
And it was the very first time I watched the effects once and went back to the old crap.
Give me that old crap. It was also, it was one of the first VHSs to come out. And, of course, it came out in like a 60-minute edited form. Because that's what everyone was clamoring for. Can you give us the thing that we wanted except, with a third of it cut out, please, and chopped together?
Maybe that's what inspired Brendan Shepard to do the same treatment to Fiona Cummings' two Davison stories.
Can I just mea culpa here, because I just went off on a rant about 20 minutes ago to fans to be more imaginative, and now I'm just, I love this nostalgic thing. I am no better than anybody else. In fact, I'm probly worse. I'm a hypocrite as well.
You are a hypocrite, Warren.
Time today.
I think we're all guilty of nostalgic hypocrisy in our own way on this podcast, and over the course of the past few years, The Seeds of Death, Episode 1.
Yeah.
Aired also January 25th, 1969. Love The Seeds of Death. Love it. Love episode 1.
I need to watch that again. I haven't watched it in so many years. I do enjoy it. I remember back in the day, whatever, episode 1 or 2 when it came in. Because it was one of the few that have like explicit mentions of Canada.
I was going to ask that very question. I couldn't remember if it was that or Enemy of the World.
Enemy of the World was one of them.
Thanks to T-Mat.
Yeah, a T-Mat, Toronto, transfer completed. Yeah, that was, I think Ottawa's in there too. Toronto and Ottawa.
Ottawa both,
yes.
2 Canadian cities, yeah. Vancouver having not existed, of course, at that point in 1969.
What's a Vancouver? Who knows?
Wasn't a city. So that was cool. I love that first episode. It was one of my favorites because we established T-Mat and everything, and then the ending, and then like it's the Ice Warriors. They show up at the very end. It's pretty great.
Mm-hmm. And it started the whole trend of like foam raves and whatever as well. So
it sure did.
Yeah, eventually. 25th and 26th, 19. We're the 40th anniversary here. Four to Doomsday, the last 2 parts of Four to Doomsday. We've
referred to previous rant about Four to Doomsday.
Yeah, but episode 4 actually contained the spacewalk sequence, which down to the, yes, it looks like cheap CSO. It's Peter Davison swinging around the studio on a chair. But whatever, he's awesome. The music, I love the music for it. The Roger Limb music during that spacewalk sequence is amazing. There's the cricket ball.
I agree.
It's just a wonderful sequence. I adore it to bits. Four to Doomsday. God, I love that story way more than I should.
Yep, same here.
And 2 years later, we had episode 1 of Frontios, which I think sits a little less well in our collective memories.
It really does, isn't it?
On account of it not being great.
Just had a birthday recently as well.
Happy birthday, Christopher Hamilton Bidmead. Good for him.
It is the most bid-meatiest Bidmead that ever Bidmeaded, that story, I have to say.
Is it? I don't know.
For good or ill. I
feel like Logopolis is his...
Yeah, Logopolis is pretty, I just bought a computer.
Yeah, magnum opus. This one feels, I don't know, I've never cottoned on to Frontios.
Although with Logopolis, I'm okay. This is going to get really obscure, but
right.
I used to, I still have right behind me, the Tandy Radio Shack Color Computer 1, and I would buy Color Computer magazine, which existed for a time, and they had an article about bubble memory, and what showed up on Logopolis, like not 2 weeks later after I bought this magazine, bubble memory. So I'm like, I'm the smartest boy to have ever lived.
Hey, at least he's using like current stuff. I don't know what Front is about.
It was very current at the time.
Yeah.
It was like the new thing to use bubble memory. I don't know what. Some computer scientist could tell me if it actually ever got phased out or what. But
like cold fusion or something like that.
And then just to move swiftly along, 2 years ago.
Wow.
All of 2 years ago.
Holy crap.
On the 26th, we had Joe Martin introduced into our lives in a Doctor Who context. Fugitive
of the... My goodness. Remember that?
Now that's how you hide a reveal. Like, we had no clue that was coming. None whatsoever. For all of Chibnall's reticence, that was... Thank you for that reticence.
That was
great.
Oh, I know. The fact that, like, they sort of said, they hinted, oh, it's going to be a big thing, so make sure you stay off Twitter. And we thought, oh, there must be something happening. And then Captain Jack shows up.
The whole John Barrowman appearance was what we thought was the big news.
And it wasn't. It wasn't.
Beautiful, what's the word I'm looking for here?
Misdirection?
Misdirection, yes.
Yeah, I still remember like watching that, and it was when Ruth and the Doctor are driving the Volkswagen Beetle back to wherever this lighthouse is, and I just remember like there's a little too much attention being paid to this random trip, and I just thought something's coming. I don't know what's happening, but something is coming.
Oh yeah, totally.
And I was just like, I don't know. It built up just magnificently, and then the reveal itself was just like. It's one of my favorite all-time Doctor Who moments. Like, it was just... I understood that I have about 814 of them, but, you know, to join that pantheon of 813 previous all-time Doctor Who moments is still a remarkable
It is a phenomenal
achievement.
Reveal. Yeah,
it really is.
Great.
The build-up to it and the reveal, and it's like...
And
it felt earned, you know, that reveal.
Kind of the best part
earned.
of it is that you still have no damn clue what the hell's going on. Still to this day. They're still screwing with us.
And then we also get some fun, awesome miscellaneous stuff, like the drone shot around the top of the lighthouse from first time Who director Nita Manzoor.
That's true. That's right. I remember
that was a good shot.
There's
a bunch of good shots. The reveal where you just pull to the side from Jodie to Joe Martin. You're like, oh, that's how you reveal a new Doctor. Damn it.
Remarkable stuff. 2 years ago, Fugitive of the June, January 26th.
It doesn't seem like it's 2 years. It seems like it's been embedded in our brains for much longer than that.
I know. Because of the pandemic.
That shows how good it was.
And the pandemic, because the pandemic has been going on for 14 years now.
This is
14 millennia, I believe.
Yeah. Since March 2020. Carnival Monsters premiered January 27th, 1973.
Some good Robert Holmes dialogue in that one.
Yeah, good one.
It's a delightful time.
Yeah, delightful
We
time.
got introduced to Ian Martyr in that one, I guess, as well.
We did, didn't we?
You're right, we did. I remember watching it after Harry Sullivan going, wait a minute, what's going on here?
I know, it's so weird to see like Pat, like, what? Like imagine if you saw the 12th Doctor first and then you watched Fires of Pompeii and you go, wait.
Or the 6th Doctor in Arc of Infinity.
Or that, or Torch with Children
Or Martha
of Earth.
Jones beforehand, yeah.
Yeah.
Or Star Trek First Contact and then that other TNG episode starring the same dude that played Cochrane.
Thinking, what's he doing here?
Actors. No, wait, it's a TOS episode. Was that? Is that from Cochrane?
No.
The actor that played Cochrane in First Contact.
I can't wait to think of his name.
Oh, right.
TNG
okay,
before,
yes.
Earlier.
Sorry, you're right.
Why can't I think of his name?
Right.
What's his name?
Oh, yeah, I'm totally blanking on it too
That's
now.
from Babe. What's his name?
Oh, yeah.
He's great, too. He's in a ton of stuff.
James Cromwell.
James Cromwell.
James Cromwell.
Or as he's credited in Revenge of the Nerds, Jamie Cromwell.
Wow.
Of the UK Cromwells, direct descendant of Oliver Cromwell. I am completely making that up.
Did not appear in Doctor Who though. The Underwater Menace episode 3 aired January 28th, 1967. I mentioned it only because for the longest time that was the only episode that existed, and of course features the great cliffhanger. Nothing in the world can stop me now. That happened. That happened January 28th, 1967. How about that? The 29th of January features one of the grimmest episodes of Doctor Who in history. Part 12, Destruction of Time of the Daleks Master Plan, where Sarah Kingdom dies, everyone else dies, Doctor appears halfway through the story. Boy, oh boy, what an epic, though. Toby Haydock right now for the Patreon feed on his podcast, Happy Times and Places, is going through the Daleks Master Plan, and it's like, with no telesnaps existing, and people basically just having Zapruder set images for any clue as to what this thing looked like. It is like the most mysterious and tantalizing of Doctor Who stories. It went on for 3 months back in 65 and 66, and ended with that. So any thoughts on the Robots of Death Part 1, which aired on January 29th?
Absolutely glorious. It's so good. I would really love to see a movie from the 70s set in that world, because there's just so much more you could do with those characters. Like, do it before, just in the Robot Society. It's just so delightfully louche and 70s and decadent as hell. It could be really cool.
And as we record yesterday, Pamela Salem celebrated her 72nd birthday.
Happy birthday, Pamela Salem. It's been in a lot of... She was Moneypenny in that James Bond movie I never saw.
She was.
It's not official. Never Say Never Again. She's in the Tripods. By the way,
isn't she the mother of Benedict Cumberbatch, or am I mixing
No, you're thinking of One
that's One of Them,
yeah. Oh, right, yes, of course. Yes.
Shout out to the Tripods.
My apologies.
Speaking of Tripods, I just want to shout out to the Tripods cast, which is a podcast about the Tripods, which is relatively recent, and they just put out their Series 2 episode with interviews with John Shackley and Carrie Seal and Robin Hayter. None of these names mean anything to you or you, Warren, or you, Chris, but I'm just happy that it exists in the world. So that's my tangential mention of the Tripods, which featured Pamela
You're right, it means
Salem.
nothing to me.
I know. Pamela Salem featured in the first season of it.
Tripods streaming anywhere?
No, it is not. Nope. Gonna find it on DVD or somewhere. So anyway, there you go. That's our overly long look of stuff.
I'm just gonna throw out a quick one there for the Chris Peloton, because that's 50 years ago now.
Oh my God, 50 years since Peloton.
And we've also got the
60th anniversary will be the Chris Peloton.
Yeah.
We've also got the upcoming big finish with the return of David Troughton as King Peloton.
That's true. Timed with the 50th anniversary. So,
yeah.
So well done. That was on January 29th, 1972. Wow. Goodness me. Time flies, especially on this podcast, but we still have more stuff to get to. Like right now, we'll have a talk with the folks from EVE Online, because there's a crossover event called the Interstellar Convergence with Doctor Who. It lasts until February 1st. Here's a chat that I had with some of the developers of EVE Online right now. EVE Online, the long-running, space-based, massively multiplayer online RPG, is welcoming another long-running, space-based entity, Doctor Who, at a crossover event called the Interstellar Convergence, taking place in the game until February 1st. And joining me to talk about it are the games developer for EVE Online, Joshua Bayer. Hello, Joshua.
Hello, thanks for having me.
And community developer at EVE Online, Peter Farrell.
Great. Yeah, it's love to be here. I love the title of the podcast. It's probably my favorite podcast title. I think I've been talking about this all week. So really excited to be here. Thank you.
I hope we can live up to the name, which we thought up many, many years ago. But for the uninitiated then, what is EVE Online?
So pretty much it's you kind of nailed it. It is a massively multiplayer online space game set in the very far distant future. It's been going on for about 20 years. We've got thousands of players. They live on a single shard. So there's not different universes or anything like that, or different servers. Everyone's all playing together, and really they can pretty much do anything, whether it be empire building, which is kind of a big thing. Some people are just pacifist explorers. Some people harvest resources and build ships. Really, everything in the game is completely up to the players and how they want to do it. We kind of provide the sandbox and make sure there's enough sand in the sandbox, and the players make some fabulous creations out of the tools that we give them.
Joshua, what's your role in the game as the games developer?
Yeah, so I'm one of our game designers. Specifically, I work on the team that produces live event content. So we're trying to make sure that there's new stuff to do in the game on a regular basis, lots of exciting things for people to try, especially for veteran players who are looking for something new to try out, maybe to see an aspect of the game that they haven't seen before. So we release new events about every 1 or 2 months. And the one that we have going right now is, of course, the big anticipated Doctor Who crossover, the Interstellar Convergence.
Yes. So how did the idea of a crossover with Doctor Who come about?
So this was a discussion originally at levels above my pay grade in the company. But as far as I understand it, this was actually something where the BBC pitched the idea and reached out and thought that this would be a really cool crossover to have. We're both big science fiction properties. A lot of our fan bases overlap. A lot of people are fans of both Eve and Doctor Who. And we think there's a lot of opportunity for people that maybe play Eve but haven't seen Doctor Who, or seen Doctor Who and are big fans of it and haven't played Eve, that they might be able to get introduced to each other and have a really good time. So we decided it was a really great idea, and went through the process of developing what that would look like in the Eve universe. And it's been something we've been working on for a little over a year as kind of a slow burn project that then ramped up over the past few months.
Right. Peter, you mentioned you can be like a pacifist explorer. I signed up for an EVE Online account when this news broke, and I, as a Doctor Who fan, drifted towards the Explorer. Is it perhaps because of that aspect? It's not necessarily a war game or anything like that. It's a game of exploration as well. Does that make it easy to sort of incorporate a supposedly pacifist game like Doctor Who into it?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. One of the coolest things about just being in a sci-fi universe like EVE Online is just exploring the unknown. I think that appeals to a lot of players who are into the sci-fi genre. I think we all kind of liken ourselves to be spacefarers in some capacity, one way or another. And it is something that especially newer players and people who are trying to find their footing into EVE gravitate towards, right? Because the universe is so big, so much to do, so much to see. And, you don't really have any really knowledge base to where to go from here when you first start. If you're an older player, if you've been playing EVE, we've got players who've been playing for like 18 plus years. They know what's in space. They know what the secrets are in store for them. So they're not necessarily as motivated to do the exploration, but they have like these massive social structures with them. And so they can kind of go on other challenges. But when players start out, they absolutely love to explore space. And I think it's one of the more common things. You can kind of bump into people. You can explore the unknown because everything is unknown to you at that time.
Awesome. So what kind of Doctor Who content is in the Interstellar Convergence, and how do players unlock it?
Yeah, so during the Interstellar Convergence, the storyline is that the universe of Doctor Who and EVE Online are interacting for the first time as part of a natural phenomena that isn't entirely explained. And as part of that, there's bits of debris from the Doctor Who universe spilling through into New Eden, which is the world of EVE Online. And those are showing up as signatures that can be scanned down using ships that are designed for exploration. This is all stuff you would learn as part of the tutorial of the game, how to explore space using scan probes. And you'll see a signature called the Warp Matrix Convergence, and they're appearing all over the game. Every single solar system in the game has a chance of spawning them, and they spawn at very high rates. Within there, you will see rifts that have opened up to the Doctor Who universe. You'll be able to explore relics and run through a hacking minigame to collect some items. And you can build objects called filaments that allow you to send a ship through to visit the area of space around Gallifrey, actually, and learn more there, explore more there, and continue on that cycle. You can collect more materials. Eventually, you'll get the opportunity to have combat encounters as well, where you can bring in a larger, more powerful ship and actually engage Dalek saucers and individual Daleks in combat in space.
Exciting and terrifying at the same time. So Peter, as a community developer, what is your role in the game at large, and I suppose directly with the Doctor Who crossover?
For this one. For this event, I had the easy job. I just got to play it and talk to the players who were also playing it to see what their response were. But generally, what I do is I help relay the information from our developers to the people that play the game, to the community. Make sure they know what's going on. Make sure that the community, especially the players, when they have desires for where the game is going to go, just to relay that internally as well. it's like a bit of a two-way street. We communicate with the players and they communicate back to us. And we're kind of like the janitors that facilitate that conversation, make sure that roadway is clear, make sure there's no buildup or anything like that. But really, it's the coolest job in the world. Frankly, I just get to talk to people who play my favorite video game.
We're really fortunate with EVE Online. The game's been running for so long. We have such a developed community that we can really have a really strong communication with that community. We have things like an entire player elected council where every year all of our players get to elect representatives who will speak to us on their behalf and also help with that communication. They set up organizations with their own civil society. It's really an amazing community, the people that play EVE and that have for many years, and then many people that have just started recently as well.
Yeah, you'll be one of them soon enough.
I will be when I find the time, because I'm already there. I'm Zotero of Diplos, which is a character from a Doctor Who story from 1978. So I've already done a deep dive in regards to naming my character, and it's free to play. That's the key thing for EVE Online, and I'm almost through the tutorial missions, and I thought it was relatively simple too. How simple is it for new players to join in to unlock the Doctor Who content?
It is very simple. So the tutorial missions will take a few hours of gameplay to get through, and that'll teach you the basic mechanics of the game, how to interact with the world. EVE gameplay is primarily done through the spaceship. So you're flying around space, planets and nebulas and asteroid fields and all that gorgeous scenery. And interacting with the EVE universe through the actions your ship can take and the modules on your ship can take. The scan probing exploration mechanic is a way for you to find interesting locations in space, and then you can warp to them and check them out and collect things and interact with them. And the entry point for the Doctor Who event, this warp matrix convergence signature that's appearing all over the place, it is the easiest level of difficulty in the game. So it is intended to be something that right out of the tutorial, once you finish that, you can get in and give it a try. There's going to be one container in it that's a bit more challenging, but that's there as a stretch for somebody who wants to really test their abilities. The vast majority of them are set up for to be essentially the starting level of difficulty.
Easy is the way I like it. You've made this expansion just for me, and I thank you for that. And then you
can progress from there.
I can progress from there. This wraps up on February 1st. There's not a lot of time left to do this. Do you think there'll be more Doctor Who content in the future, perhaps?
I mean, I don't think we can say for sure. I wouldn't rule it out, but there's nothing we can announce or anything like that. I can say that the type of gameplay that you can engage in this event is something that's available through other sites, other missions in the game as well too. So if you try it out, you decide you like that type of gameplay, there's plenty of more options for it as well. And the Easter egg objects that exist in this event, the things like you can get a scale model of the TARDIS, you can get a copy of River's diary, you can get a bag of jelly babies, you can get an outfit that looks like the Fourth Doctor's scarf, things like that. Those continue to exist in the game after the event. So if you hop in and grab them through the event, you can hold on to them and keep playing and trading with them. And also, if you come in after the event, you can always trade with other players for them as well.
Awesome. You two mentioned before the interview that you're sort of like, modern series fans and stuff. Has the interaction with Doctor Who fans regarding this and perhaps playing the game a little more, has that enhanced your opinion and adoration of Doctor Who in general?
Yeah, I think it has. It's also been something where myself and some of the other designers, especially our narrative designers, we all have some experience and knowledge of Doctor Who, especially one of our narrative designers is from the UK and has had a much longer cultural connection to it than like me as a Canadian, for instance, where I wasn't really exposed to it until the reboot. But we've all done a lot more research into Doctor Who as part of this event. So it's been really cool to be able to look back and both recall fond memories of what we have seen and also see some new stuff.
Peter, what's your experience been with the community and the Doctor Who fans?
We have a multinational community in EVE Online, and one of our content creators that we talked to is from Japan. He's a Japanese player, and he had no idea what Doctor Who was. So as this event started, he became like just enamored with the concept, and he messaged me like 3 days later. He said, "I just binged the entire first season." Uh, uh, he was mad that it wasn't on Netflix and he had to get it on Amazon. He was like, "I'm mad that I have to buy the rest now because I can't put it down." Like he was just so excited just to experience this, because this is just something that he'd never interacted with at all. I was kind of raised with it a little bit when I was much younger. Tom Baker's scarf is, I think my dad had like a bit of a replica of one before, but really I got into it during the reboot as well. And this has made me kind of look back and start looking at some of the old Doctor Who episodes as well, just to get a little bit more of an appreciation for it. And, I'm really happy that in game my character has the cosmetic of Tom Baker's scarf. And in my ship is a pack of jelly babies. So if any Whovian kind of pulls me over, they'll be able to know that I'm legit.
Doctor Who and EVE Online, massive universes ready for exploration from people new to it is basically what the theme of this is. Awesome. The Interstellar Convergence, the Doctor Who crossover event, is available in EVE Online until February 1st. Joshua, Peter, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Stephen.
Yeah, thanks for having us. This was absolutely wonderful, and we hope to see more Whovians in space.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Joshua. I like that Peter used the word Whovians because I know it annoys mostly Brits.
Taking it back. North Americans love that word. Or a lot of them do. Anyway.
I never had a problem with it.
I have never once had a problem.
Nor have I. You know what? I probably did at one point, and I probably was upset when people spelled it Dr.Who or called the character Doctor Who. Now I revel in it.
Absolutely.
Revel.
I totally do. But I never didn't.
Well, now you poked a bear, so.
A little bit. Anyway, yeah, EVE Online Doctor Who thing goes until February 1st. I need to get back to the... I've sort of paused my tutorial because I knew that I was running out of time, and I didn't want to get fully on into the actual mission itself. And so I kind of paused it, and I haven't got back to it. And it better hurry because
Steven,
it wraps up on the 1st.
Can I commend your commitment to the bit? Like you're putting your time in. I just wouldn't. Nothing against EVE Online. I'm sure it's lovely. I just don't have the time in the day to go. It's got Doctor Who in the name. I have to do it.
You know what? I'd like to be relatively informed about the stuff we talk about on this podcast.
Well, okay, yes, fair enough. I'll give you that. But
I feel we owe it to the listeners. We owe it to the Patreon supporters of the show who actually.
Yes, you're absolutely right. But also, you have commitment to the bit that I don't have. Is what I'm saying. Well, I'm lazy. How about that?
Well, understand this, Warren. You have watched things that are not Doctor Who in the past year and a half, and where
that is true. I have.
Sometimes I don't. Sometimes, like literally, I'm watching Doctor Who one a day leading up to the 60th anniversary. I've also started in the background. I'm not watching it intently, but just as background noise, currently towards the end of series 5 of Doctor Who. So I've got 2 Doctor Who watches going on simultaneously right now.
Plus you've got whatever you get to for Lazy Doctor Who.
And Lazy Doctor Who.
And you're season 9 or 10 now? 10.
Yeah, 10. We might actually start on Carnival Monsters today. No promises. You
are committed. I'll give you that. Possibly in either respect, committed.
Listen, Doctor Who is my comfort TV and indeed my research. So,
all right, fair enough.
Right?
I mean, there are worse things to surround yourself in a comfortable quilt with. Thank you very much. Some quick bits of news before we move on to our commentary for part 2 of Remembrance of the Daleks. Links. By the way, links in the show notes. There's. I know we recorded this commentary decades ago in August, back when Omicron was just a letter in the Greek alphabet. But there's a couple notes in the show notes about a Ace's Jacket cosplay thing, and also Who Effects did a look back at our Remembrance of the Daleks this day in history, January 23rd, 2016, with doing his usual awesome stuff about looking at the effects of that. So that whole tweet thread is linked in the show notes as well. So if you want to follow along and read along about Remembrance of the Daleks, you can do that. What do we got here? Target novelizations. There's new Target novelizations coming along in July. 5 new novels. Being The Androids of Tara and The Stones of Blood by David Fisher. These are actually not the Terrence Dicks novelizations, but the ones that he adapted for audio novelizations in 2011 and 2014. Has since passed on.
I think it's for at least Androids of Tara on the audio release. It says unabridged, So yeah, he expanded on the stories, and these are the novelizations of that.
Of those, which is awesome. Fires of Pompeii by James Moran is writing that. Eaters of Light, Roman Moreau. And Peter Harness is novelizing the Zygon Invasion, and presumably the Zygon Inversion will be in there as well, because that would be ridiculous to end it on a cliffhanger where Clara blows up an airplane with a rocket launcher and says, well, that's it for the book. Hope you enjoyed that. So those are all coming out in July. I believe you can pre-order them on amazon.co.uk, because Chris found all of them, all the links that we had that we're gonna tell the world about before it was announced, and then they just announced it. So
I want Chris to have a series called Amazon Detective, airing on Amazon, about him discovering things on Amazon.
Do you search those, or do you just rely on Doctor Who Google alerts for those, Chris? I'm just curious.
For these, neither.
Yeah.
No,
An Amazon detective does not give up his method, sir. Come on.
I was going to say.
Honestly, there's a Facebook group where I was alerted to a couple of these coming out before.
You could have been this generation's Columbo, and you just blew it, Chris.
It was
Way to
before
go.
Stones of Blood was confirmed. So there were 4 of the 5 were known, but Stones of Blood was supposed but not confirmed at that time. So. Yeah, but no, and this hasn't hit the news because I don't want to bother with it because it's too much. But the other week I was going through the Penguin website looking at all the upcoming 2022 audio releases, and there's a bunch of them. That was, I think, a Google alert that led me there, but I'm sure there will be formal. Condensed announcements about those audios in time, so I'm going to leave that for them.
Oh, that's an exclusive. Not really. Just indifference.
But speaking of audios in the Penguin website, may as well go to the next article here, Stephen.
Damn right, Doctor Who: Tales of Time and Space, which is a whole collection of audio books read by various people. Books written by Justin Richards, Paul Mars, David Bishop, Ned Fountain, Andrew Lane, Darren Jones. Read by folks like Peter Purvis, Katie Manning, Colin Baker, Susan Jameson, Fraser Hines, Nicola Bryant, Dan Starkey, and Jacob Dubman. That's all. That's coming out February 6th. By that point, we should finally have the DVD for The Web of Fear in this part of the world.
It's coming out the 2nd of June, but okay.
2nd of June. I was reading it the North American style. I was reading 0206.
That's why in our internal notes it says June 2nd, so you don't get confused. But it failed.
That's detective and pedant, Chris.
Yeah, I know.
Too much faith in your ability to read, Stephen. Sorry.
Wow, this went to a dark place. You're no Columbo. Columbo was friendly when he arrested people.
I was reading the information straight off the page, and I neglected to look at the actual news list on our.
That was your one mistake.
It was.
Enjoy prison.
Going back a very smidgen to the season 22 box set in the trailer for one of the behind the sofa segments, we have Wendy Padbury saying, "Why don't they just bring in a quark?" or something like that.
That's true.
So, Big Finish.
Big Finish
delivers on that.
Yep,
heard that. They thought, well, yes, we will. We will call your bluff, Wendy Padbury. And Unit Nemesis, Agents of the Volprene, which comes out in March 2022, which is like 2 months from now. Quarks, Unit versus Quarks. That's all you need to know. Unit.
What I love about the artwork is it's both ridiculous and delightful because it kind of apes every network TV show's sort of people in a triangle lineup. But then you've got stuff like an Ice Warrior or a Quark or like a Mandrill or something, or it's just some monster that shouldn't be in that lineup if you're used to the network TV thing. You just, out of nowhere, a Quark's just kind of hanging out in the back. Like, it's great.
One of these things is not like the other.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like, what's the Quark doing here? Anyway,
why would they line up? Who would agree for this? Like, what explain this photo shoot to me.
Yeah, Harry Sullivan's there. Winifred Bel-Air is there. Angela Bruce. A whole host of different folks. Four different stories. One of them written by our good friend Andrew Smith, the man from Gallifrey. No, he's not the man from Gallifrey. That's the name of his story. Are in this pre-order March 2022. Unit Nemesis, Agents of the Volprene. That's how it's announced. Also, lastly in the news, the Big Finish Torchwood titles from January up until April have been announced. Infidel Places, with Queen Elizabeth II. Sunny, the Black Knight, which is
looks
the
like Queen
50th.
Victoria to me, but okay.
What did I say? Did I say
Queen Elizabeth II.
Is it Queen Elizabeth II? Who's still alive and probably could sue, so maybe
I
not.
was wrong. I was wrong about that. I got my Queen's.
A whole Queen Victoria founding Torchwood thing. That's probably where that.
I know. I knew it. I looked at the picture. And
Big Finish has been stripped of all royal privileges by Queen Elizabeth II. Oh, wait, that's somebody else. Never mind.
Torch of the Black Knight, written by our friend Elizabeth Miles, and Infidel Places is written by McCormack too. So all those. So there you go. The monthly releases from the Torchwoods all announced.
It's a lovely group of people.
Yeah, they are absolutely. That's it. That's for our overly long news segment. Once again, apologies for the length of this podcast, but we jam pack this show every single week for you, the listeners, for you. So we hope you enjoy this part 2 of our classic series commentary of Doctor Who: Remembrance of the Daleks.
Are the microphones wired in?
All run the condenser, most merciful. We're looking forward to excellent duodecaphonic sound.
This is the moment when I get a real feeling of job satisfaction.
Welcome to our classic series commentary for Doctor Who: Remembrance of the Daleks, or Doctor Who and the Remembrance of the Daleks, which was not the target novelization title,
It was
sadly.
not.
No. Part 2.
Aronovich wrote it.
He did write it, didn't he? I wonder how many.
If memory serves, it was one of the harder ones to get as well, I think.
Was it really? I never had it, so I guess it was officially harder to get.
It's on the bookshelf behind me.
Oh, what was it? Maybe you'll read passages of it through the. Don't do that.
I mean, I've got a PDF copy I could more easily pull out, but sure.
Sure. It feels better when it's coming from the book. All right, here you go, folks. I hope you've kept your Blu-ray / DVD / Laserdisc / VHS off-air PAL copy that you paid $120 for back in 1988. Ready to go.
Not each.
Each. Here we go. Part 2, Remembrance of the Daleks in 3, 2, 1, play.
Yes, Stephen, if you get our fan anecdotes from several decades ago, right, we really appreciate it.
Yeah. So we did.
153? What was the number of this book?
Oh, well, that sounds about right, actually. So we didn't mention that the previous episode was the 4th and final pre-credit sequence in classic Doctor Who. And now I think there have probably been 4 stories since it came back that haven't had intros. Like Rose and Smith and Jones, I think, didn't have one.
Well, there were several for Chibnall.
And then Chibnall, of course, just completely broke the bank on him, yeah.
All right, so the target novelization does not have individual chapter names. Just
we're
one chapter.
crying out loud, Aronovich. What the hell?
Well, your career will go nowhere, Aronovich.
I
Nowhere,
know.
especially with books.
Good luck writing a book now if you don't even know what a chapter is, you idiot.
Here we go. Here's some conversation between Omega and Rassilon.
Oh, that was like a during the prologue or something, wasn't it?
This is page 48, 46.
You know who I hate? The Doctor. You're right, Omega, said Rassilon.
Yeah. It's Roy Skelton doing the voice right there. It's funny. Roy Skelton is a perfect encapsulation of North American fans knowing someone from Doctor Who first and whatever else he did, distant second. Because, of course, he was famous for being the voice of Zippy on Rainbow. But having not seen Rainbow or grown up on Rainbow and only knowing him as a Dalek voice.
Same.
I would never have put 2 and 2 together for Zippy and Doctor Who, but I remember seeing Rainbow as a kid.
I remember seeing. It was on
They had it
like
on Access. I think it was Access.
it was on Access TV, which has long since been reformatted. I think it's believe it or not, CTV2. I think is what Access is now. Access TV. I remember it being on Knowledge, the British BC one.
If you're an Albertan, that might make sense of a certain age. Otherwise, no, it does not.
Oh man, I haven't thought about Access TV for a long time. They used to have Robin of Sherwood on there as well. I think Access TV was a strange one. It was like kind of like it was more or less our version of public TV. I think wasn't
basically,
Access TV?
But it was provincial.
Yeah, it was only provincial.
That kind of thing still exists because there's a Knowledge Network out here in BC.
There's a Knowledge Network. Yeah, there still are. Yeah.
And when I went to Nate, Swap Shop, which was one of their shows, which is kind of like basically the auction on TV, as I recall.
Oh yeah, but not.
Was sorry, go ahead.
No, I just because there's a famous. The only reason I know of it, Swap Shop, Noel Edmonds Swap Shop, I think, is because I see a lot of clips on it on Doctor Who DVD. It's a different show than that.
I guess a local version of that, maybe. But anyway,
that.
We were all encouraged to try to go work on it because it was kind of an easy way into local television.
Right.
I never did, but many did.
Oh, you should have, Warren. Your career might be in a different place right now.
I'd be more miserable.
Never.
Working in television still.
Oh, if you're still working in television, you are collecting a pretty fat paycheck.
Okay, so I'd be working in television, probably in Edmonton.
Yep.
I don't like where this nightmare scenario is going.
This is a studio here that we're in.
Also, I'd be an executive. Never one of my main priorities.
This is not Roy Skelton doing the voice. This is Brian. What's his name? I always forget his. Is it Brian Miller, who's Elizabeth Sladen's husband? Does the voices for those? Yeah. I suppose Sadie Miller is.
I gotta say, and this is not a new thought, but there's something inherently cool about Ace with a Rocket.
Really kind of cool. Especially because look at it, like that's an actual, like it blew like fire out of the back end and like scorched the wall behind her. I mean, that is an insurance issue as well. I love the 80s.
Yes, this is a screwed up looking Dalek.
Found the part where they talk about the Reverend's backstory about enlisting in World War One.
Oh wow!
There's a lot of stuff in this book that is not in the broadcast version.
I shouldn't have called your bluff on it there, Chris.
By the way, completely unrelated, I have a 4K TV now, and when I watch Blake 7 on it at 55 inches, it does not look good. It doesn't look good on my 32-inch TV either in HD, but it somehow looks better.
Better but worse?
Kind of. Well, yeah. It's way more pixelated on the bigger TV.
Oh, I know.
And stuttery, and I don't think that's the TV's fault. I think that's the fault of 40-odd years of transfer.
Well, and it's a compression issue as well. It's a digital file that you're not really seeing the best of.
Yeah.
You know,
and even though 32 inches this is my office TV now, right. That's a big size compared to those TVs we were talking about an episode ago.
Yep.
It just kind of like cathode ray TVs. It masks many sins.
Mm-hmm. It really does. One thing you can't do on digital TVs that you could do on cathode ray TVs is get a film cam or video camcorder and connect it to your TV and point it at it and make a Doctor Who title sequence. You cannot do that on digital.
I think
that's analog feedback you're watching.
I think you'll find the better answer to your statement is play Duck Hunt.
Play that too.
That is also true. Mm-hmm. Or watch episodes properly of Captain Power. Is that the one with the light in the chest?
That's the one, yeah. Captain Power. God, you can't find that anywhere, can you?
Nope.
Written by, wait for it, J. Michael Straczynski.
That's right. Here we go, folks. This is the cafe scene.
It is. I quote this quite frequently around here.
Around here.
And
look at this. Joseph Versailles gets an applause there. That feels like a sitcom entrance there. Of course, he played Jeffrey. Wasn't it? Was it Jeffrey on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Yeah.
Oh, get the hell out of here, really?
Yeah, same cat.
I have never made this connection.
Yep.
That's probably because he has a Jamaican accent here versus his British accent. And
I'm terrible at remembering actors and different stuff.
I am getting...
He also did not wear this sweater in Fresh Prince.
He did not. It's a nice sweater. That is a nice sweater, though, I must say.
Yes, but beyond the confines of my taste buds.
This... I think this is another McCoy anecdote, is that they were going to cut this scene for time, but he fought.
It's kind of great, though. I mean,
fought hard for it, yeah.
I love this scene so much.
It's so good.
It doesn't necessarily add much to the story, but it's just so...
That adds texture. That's what it adds.
Nice.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And sometimes, I'm going to make reference to Marvel movies now, but the first two Avengers movies, the best parts of the whole movie are little bits and pieces that have nothing to do with the main action.
Mm-hmm. But help enhance it. Yeah, they help enhance it, you see.
Exactly, yeah. That's just me. Other people, your mileage may vary, but I like it when they throw little bits and pieces of that stuff in.
Oh yeah, it's a it's a scene that just sort of like just weighs on. It just shows what the Doctor's going through. Oddly enough, it's I obviously enjoyed the action as a 14-year-old when I first saw this. Yeah. But I have to say that this story has never been a favorite of mine because I feel like the Doctor is a little too all-knowing and all-powerful.
Like this is my problem with the entire McCoy.
It just
and
feels
somehow I give the new series a complete pass, even though it's way worse for it.
The whole cafe scene. There's two big things to it.
Right.
One of them is McCoy himself, especially toward the end there, where he's got his head in his chin and it's like his skin's all bunched up and he's furrowing his brow and all. It's the way he plays it. And then just the lull before things start to kick back up. It's a little mental break, little breather.
I want to point out that this cat here, who
is not John Turturro.
Not John Turturro. What's his
he
name?
Does look a hell of a like him. Though.
His name is William Thomas, otherwise known as William Hugh Thomas. He is the first actor to appear both in the classic series and in the modern series. He appears first in Boomtown. He plays in Boomtown. He gets killed in the pre-credit sequence in Boomtown. He goes on later to play Gwen Cooper's father in Torchwood.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay.
So he has spread the gamut, and he's very Welsh.
All the money they spent on effects and explosions in the first episode, they have turned the lighting down to save money for the second episode.
Yeah.
Well, people complain about the overlit nature of insert story here.
Yeah.
So
this is not overlit.
Why not turn the lights down?
No, they kind of got
Gordon
past
Willis
that. That's a mid '80s thing. Is the overlitness thing?
I wonder how much of that is all stuff from the mid '80s.
Well, I think we all blame it on Warriors of the Deep. Let's face it. And then you get to Ghost Light, where it's almost a little bit too.
No, I just
dark,
mean like other
honestly.
television programs. That was just kind of like a thing they did back in the day.
I believe it. Blake Seven. I mean, you look at the Liberator set, and then you look at the Scorpio set in season 4 of Blake Seven. It's like, wow, this looks like it's lit by fluorescent lights or something like that.
I'm going through Blake 7 now that it's on BritBox, and it's hard to not believe that it's happening in the same universe as Doctor Who, solely based on the fact that it looks just like it and it sounds just like it.
I'm gonna point something out.
How far along are you, Warren?
I've just gotten 4 episodes in.
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep going.
Okay.
Like, basically, when I do sort of stuff that doesn't require my full attention with work, I'll just have it on in the background. So,
Can I just speak as a 13-year-old for a moment and just think that maybe they missed a beat by not having Sophie Aldred with her hair down more often. I'm just saying it's a good look for her.
I would agree with you. On
it's a good look.
Sort of way.
Then she just tightens it up in this massive, really tight ponytail.
But you've got the Dalek girl with her hair down. Isn't that enough?
No, I like Sophie
that is
Aldred.
a crime.
Listen, Sophie Aldred and Ace, to be more specific, struck a chord, shall we say, with a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds. I
was going to say, not just 13-year-old boys.
Yep.
Although that was probably part of the demographic.
Comedy fainting.
Oh, look, he's got Adric's star.
Now, is that the star of fascism? Is that what that is? I don't know what paraphernalia.
I don't either.
Thankfully, I have no idea. But of course, he does talk about being on the wrong side in the last war.
I was convinced this was Davros because I was dumb.
That's what you were
supposed to think.
Yeah.
Oh, I know, but I should. Yeah. Having gone through
Peter
years
Halliday.
of watching Doctor Who, I should have known better.
Here's Peter Halliday. Packer. I knew him as the guard from City of Death. He was also in an episode of The Tripods. So was Pamela Salem, a different episode. But what else was Peter? He was the voice of the Silurians. In the Silurians, he was in the voice of the robot and Ambassadors of Death.
This is actually not a bad effect.
Right? That's like paint box.
I wouldn't say seamless, but it would... For the time,
it fooled me, and only now do I look back at it and go, "Oh wow, it is I can see how it's done now." But yeah, you're right. At the time,
but that curve and angle, that is not something you would have tried a few years ago.
Paint box, man, paint box.
A few years from this, I mean.
Yeah.
Which I mean, just if you look at this compared to Mind Warp, it looks a lot better than Mind Warp from 2 years prior or 3 years prior.
Yeah, I know. It's fascinating. I think they used a computer setup called Harry, all caps. It must stand for something.
Yes, that's right. Quantel Harry.
Yeah, for Mind Warp, and then they use a different thing called Paintbox for here. You get an indication by how often they're changing the technology, how quickly TV production is like changing.
I mean,
in the
think
late
about
80s.
it's the same thing as computers, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's just the acceleration of how many different versions of a computer become the same thing here.
Yeah.
Whereas if you look at early Barry Letts CSO and late Barry Letts CSO, it's about the same.
This
It did not progress as rapidly as some other technologies.
the music score that you're not listening to right now because we don't have the audio turned up, but this part is the exact bit that Kef McCullough played as an example of his work in the making of Doctor Who, aka Silver Nemesis, which I saw the previous summer. I saw the making of Silver Nemesis before I saw Silver Nemesis and this. And let me tell you, I got into playing piano and learning piano and other sampling keyboard stuff because of Kef McCullough. And so I remember, like, when is this music going to turn up in this story? Because I really liked it, and it was here, and it was barely noticeable at the
To
time.
paraphrase Sutek, his evil was your good.
It was. Say a lot about Kef McCullough,
Again,
man.
pretty
but
seamless.
not bad.
That's a wipe, man. That's pretty impressive.
That is for 88.
A couple
man.
wipes, I think, actually, yeah.
And I tell you watch like first couple seasons of Star Trek Next Generation, and man, it's about the same technology. It's on a videotape, but it's a little bit it's just as good / dicey depending on your point of view.
I remember being told about how they edited off Laserdisc and going, what in the name of tarnation are you talking about?
What?
Apparently they did. Yeah, like the first two seasons, they somehow, I can't remember how this worked, but they had some sort of weird Laserdisc editing system.
That is weird to me, Warren. I got to tell
I
you.
will look it up. Because that's quite a claim to make.
I got to ask, because it's nothing I ever had. Did anyone ever actually have one of those toast holders like you have on the table there?
Oh, I missed it.
You got the like 4 whatever separate sections to put your half piece of toast in.
Nope.
I never.
For
That
transportation.
looks very British. How can we complicate breakfast? I know. A tea cozy and this.
We had a great British breakfast the night after the when we stayed at a fine listener, Adam, had us over at his place when we went to go see an evening with Michael Pickwood up in Derby, and we had the best British breakfast ever. And I'm trying to think if there was some like stereotypical British table.
They gave us Marmite
paraphernalia,
and they waited to hear what my reaction would be, which was,
tried
"Oh
Marmite.
God, what is
It's
this?"
not good. Never had it, but the crumpets, man. Crumpets. I'm going to go back to England, up to Derby, just to have crumpets.
You can buy crumpets here, you know.
I know, but it's just not the same, okay?
Probably not.
It's not the same.
I don't think I've ever bought crumpets here, but
I have.
right.
I have. I don't know how to quite toast them. That is a very 80s top that Ace has got on right there. That is...
Straight blowing.
What does that even mean?
I can hear Wham through that shirt.
Yeah, I know. But hey, you know what? There's another Silver Nemesis parallel right there. She's wearing trumpets and, a jazz t-shirt, and then they go see Courtney Pine. Anyway. George Sewell. I'd never seen him in anything else. He's probably been in tons of stuff he's probably been in the Oneiden line.
Probably.
6 seasons of the Oneiden line, and I wouldn't know.
14 years of Tenko.
Tenko. Only lasts
14 years of
5.
Tenko is my band's name.
Yeah.
Also, I'm doing a lot of scrolling through Memory Alpha right now. This may take a while. They are very, very meticulous about
it is. I know.
remastering.
He's in an episode of UFO.
George Sewell here?
Randall and Hopkirk deceased. Zed Cars,
Sure.
of course.
Whatever.
Zed Cars was the what's the show that everybody's on? The Bill of its time.
Yeah.
Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Oh, he was in Barry Lyndon.
I love Barry Lyndon.
I quite like it, but mostly for visuals.
Oh, I love it. I watched it thinking, oh, wow, no one ever talks about Barry Lyndon. And then I liked it. And then about a year ago.
Glacial pace.
Oh, no.
That's the whole point, though.
It's
it's supposed to be at the pace of the time, and that's why the lighting is the way it is.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
I do like what a dolt Ryan O'Neal is. I'm a spy, derp.
Yeah.
I'm going to spend all my wife's money.
So why did Warren? Why did this story strike you, or did it strike you at all?
Because it was
at
a
the time?
proper Doctor Who story without a bunch of pretentious hoo-ha. Even though there is a bit of pretentious hoo-ha in it, it felt like a proper Dalek story, a proper Doctor Who story. It wasn't camp out of its mind, which is a lot of the early McCoy, and it wasn't too impressed with itself with no good reason, like a lot of the later McCoy stuff.
What I appreciate about Doctor Who in this time is that there's a whole bunch of new people writing for it who watched Doctor Who but didn't have the same reverence for it. You know, they were.
Or like Aronovich never wrote for TV before this.
No, you know, there's a certain punk rock aspect to Doctor Who around this time.
Well, and I mean, you hire what was Cardinal, 20 whatever year old kid
in his 20s, yeah,
as script editor who had never done a script editing job before.
Yeah,
of course you're going to get some fun in there.
I guess I didn't realize that TVs took like 30 seconds to warm up back in those days.
Yeah. I might be wrong about this.
I remember having TVs as a child that had to warm up like that.
Yeah, I remember that. And the coolest thing about old TVs when you turn them off and they do that cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, here's the thing that at the time I had no idea about. This is my sheltered upbringing speaking. I did not understand what
I didn't get this either.
Meant.
Even though I grew up in Alberta, which is kind of a racist place.
I know. And now I fully get it. I didn't understand it as a 14-year-old. And now it just adds a very massive element to this whole story. You know, this racist Dalek war happening in the midst of racist Britain. Enoch Powell's
the effects were on the effects were on magnetic videotape, and that's why they had to completely redo them for off the film elements for Next Gen. I thought for sure. I remember reading somewhere that they used these Laserdisc systems for the first year or so to edit it together.
That seems weird. So it's not the case then, Warren? You've been disproven here? Debunked?
Possibly. Memory alpha should not be disproven, or not be should be regarded as properly true most of the time. But I don't know, this Laserdisc editing thing, I'm going to have to look this up because it's bugging me now.
Oh.
So apparently Ratcliffe originally could have been Stratford Johns. And Mike Smith could have been Mark McGann, brother of Paul.
Almost had him again in Doctor Who before we had him again in Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
What I have to admit, I have
sussed it.
Oh, okay, go on, Warren.
Laserdisc was used on Edit Droid, which is a Lucasfilm system. So they would have all the clips on a Laserdisc. You could call them up, then transfer them over onto videotape, which you would edit on. So it was an actual system, the Edit Droid. Whether it was used on Next Gen or not, I don't know about.
Ah, okay.
Does it say anything about how they were transferred? Like digital? I guess it'd be an analog transfer, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Laserdisc was still analog, but it was random access.
Analog,
so you could just call up all your dailies and stuff, I guess.
Analog audio, video, stereo, digital audio.
Analog both, actually.
Or is it analog both? Okay.
So it's more of like a storage system than anything. Really, it's got like a hard drive.
Here's where we get really nerdy. They had CLV and CAV, and I don't remember
constant linear velocity, constant angular velocity.
And you could get more video on a CLV, so you'd have to flip it over. Or you only had to flip it over once, but you only get a half hour each on CAV, but they looked slightly better, and you could get perfect stills on them. You couldn't get perfect stills on CLV. Why do I remember all this crap on systems I haven't used in decades?
It's like SP versus SLP or something on a VHS.
Kinda, yeah.
Let me tell you, folks, I hope you're enjoying it. Like, this podcast has been going on for over 15 years now, and I can guarantee that you are not going to get as deep a dive into Laserdisc editing systems on any other Doctor Who podcast than you just heard right now.
Why do I know this useless garbage?
Yeah. Oh, here's a very controversial moment in Doctor Who history here.
The Doctor with a gun?
McCoy calls it Spiridon. It's Spiridon. Like, this is Metabolus before Metabolus ever was a thing. Oh,
those wars.
Yeah. I remember at the time thinking, what? That's not what it is. Even though I don't think I'd even seen Pertwee at this point.
Who do I argue with about this?
Yeah. Like, where am I supposed to go? I can tell that something's wrong here.
At best, I would have read the book and had no idea what the actual pronunciation was.
Yeah, same here.
Spiridon. There's no spiders on Spiridon.
No. There's no spirits on Spiridon.
There's no...
There's nobody called Dawn on Spiridon.
No, there's no... Oh, I'm forgetting. There's no... what are they called? What's the second? There's no Zeons on Zeos. There we go.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at. Armageddon Factor. Have we done a commentary for Armageddon Factor yet? I don't think we have.
I don't believe so.
Oh, no, I'd remember that.
We've definitely talked about it because I remember watching it for some reason. Or
Boom. Take that, rock
the
and
Daleks
roll.
Are in this.
Yeah.
We have not done Pirate Planet or Tara or Kroll or Armageddon
Oh,
Factor.
my God.
So just Stones of Blood and Rebus.
Man, Aldred goes after it.
Boom.
She just, Incidentally,
She's not screwing around here.
This is Aldred. This is Aldred. This is Aldred. This right here, going through the window, is Tracy Eden, who happened to also be Carrie Fisher's stunt double in Return of the Jedi.
Oh, cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was filmed in the UK for a good chunk of it, so that would make sense.
Yeah. In the studio, anyway. Not on location. I think Return of the Jedi was almost entirely filmed on the location scenes were all in the U.S. They're in the Redwood Forest and Yuma, Arizona for the Sarlacc Pit, unless I'm mistaken.
Oh, you're probably right.
Yeah, which is rare. I sense a cliffhanger coming. We're gonna really kill her. Yeah, we're gonna get her this time. You want to shoot first? No, you shoot first. Oh, no. Yep.
That's still at the school.
But it looks like a warehouse.
Yeah.
It's a very 70s confrontation at the warehouse district sort of an ending.
Yeah. Something you see. Actually, there is a cliffhanger in an episode of Gangsters that ends with a confrontation in a warehouse.
And every single American cop show where they smash through a bunch of crates, they punch one guy in the face, and then they confront the villain.
With Warren finally, after so many years watching Blake 7, maybe I should actually break out Gangsters and watch that.
Oh, it's bizarre, man. It's bizarre. I'll give you that. John Leeson is the voice of the Dalek. How about that?
Yeah.
I try to think which Dalek. Maybe he's just, they lumped him in as the Dalek controller voice to not let on that it wasn't Terry Malloy, because they go through lengths to disguise the fact that Terry Malloy is going to be in episode 3. Try and spot where it is. Roy Trombley. Yeah.
I just saw Val McCrimmon, and I'm like, nepotism at work, am I right?
Exactly.
Fictional nepotism. Fepotism.
Val McCrimmon? What?
Fapotism. Val McCrimmon is one of those staff.
Yeah,
I know. Who's
assistant floor manager? Jamie McCrimmon, of course.
And Andrew Morgan is obviously the son of Morgan from Colony in Space. Well, duh.
Or Morgus from...
Yeah.
Or Morgaine.
Morgaine, that's what it was. Who's yet to appear. All right, folks, we're halfway through Remembrance of the Daleks. I hope you do join us for the next Doctor Who Classic Series commentary for this. Part 3 will be the next one on Radio Free Skaro. Until next time, I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Morning, Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now.
You've been listening to Radio Free Skaro. Find us online at radiofreeskaro.com. Follow us on Twitter and Tumblr at Radio Free Skaro. Subscribe to us on iTunes and donate to the show at patreon.com/Radio Free Skaro. Thank you.